Hi guys, long time no see. As I predicted, June was a crazy month for me and I didn't get as much stitching time in as I would have liked, but I did manage some and we'll get to that. I have some whips to show you, some finishes to show you, and some FFOs to show you. But I'm sorry I'm late with this video. I attempted to do it a few days ago. The weather here has been rainy, very, very rainy, which is great for stitching, but not so good for filming in this particular room. And this is where I film, and the lighting was just horrible. So finally today, June 5th, we have beautiful sunshine, and I thought, okay, time to go, but I'll give you a warning. I am flying by the seat of my pants, so I apologize if I am disorganized. The first thing I want to share with you is the winnings that I got from 3L Threads. Trisha at 3L Threads, she did a giveaway and I won. And I'm sure many of you watch her as well. And she was giving away the Soda Stitch Owl family. So I'm excited to get that. I have some thoughts on a project which is probably way down the road. You'll see it someday. And in the package also was the I think it's called Basket Band, and she had started stitching the owls on this and decided no go. So I'll have to do a teeny tiny bit of frogging because I do have something fun planned for this. And she sent a very sweet card. Thank you, Trisha. That was lovely. And in addition, another little surprise that is just adorable that she sent along, and it's this Mill Hill kit called Fireflies, and it's just sweet. Thank you so much. Totally unexpected, totally unnecessary. The chart and the fabric was way more than enough, but this is just adorable. And of course, it reminds me of my childhood when we would spend countless hours outside in the evening catching fireflies and putting them in a mason jar. So I can't wait. That's going to be a cute little project. So thank you again, Trisha. Heartfelt thanks there. Okay, so for my whips, again, I didn't get as much done as I had hoped to, but I'll show you what I did get accomplished. The first one I worked, well, not the first one. The first one I'm going to show you. This is one of my Stitch Mania starts. It's called Be Simple. It's by You and I. And I am stitching this on 36 count linen, 2/2, and the satin stitch is done 1/4. And as you can see, I am almost finished with this one. It's been a fun, quick stitch. I think when you last saw it, well, I know I didn't have any of this done. I just had the outline of the beehive and a portion of this part of the satin stitch done. So I completely filled this in, which there are a lot more stitches in there than I first realized. So there we are with that one. And my next whip is the one that I won from Emily at Eclectic Possessions, called Save the Bees. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you may recall my youngest daughter saw this and fell in love and is moving into a new apartment in August and requested that I make it for her new place. So the last time you saw this one, I hadn't even finished the full bouquet, so I finished that with the pot, and I managed to get this. I still need to do the back stitching for the wings on the bees, but I've finished that part, and then I couldn't resist working on the border. So this has been really enjoyable to work on, and I'm stitching this on 32 count linen with the DMC conversion, and I'm stitching 1/2 on this one. My favorite method is 1/2. So again, this has been a lot of fun to stitch, and I can't wait to get back to it. Okay, now I had on my Heaven and Earth design called A Real Snow Job, I put in like 500 stitches, maybe, not enough to really show any progress. And on a 4 screw, again, very little progress on that. I kind of got sidetracked on some smalls because by the time I got home in the evening, I didn't feel like getting too involved in anything, and so the smalls were just easier to pick up. So my next finish was from Heart and Hand. This is another Mania start called Wee Bee. Trying to keep the glare off of it there. And I'm stitching this on 30 count with the Call for Gentle Arts threads, and we have a finish. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know. I finished this part. I don't think when you last saw it, I had much of this done. I had the outline of the hive finished, and I had started with the satin stitch on the hive. I have never had a problem with satin stitch before. This one, I don't know if it was the fabric or the thread or the combination of both, but I think it looks horrible. But then when I looked at, when I did a really close up, let me see if I can get that in here, a real close up of the stitched model, it kind of looked the same. It just, the threads would not play nice. So I don't know, we'll see when I do an FFO how I feel about it, but I don't know. So we have that one. The next one that I finished, and I still have not found, I have my working copy. I have not found the original. I think it's gone forever. But it's called Black Willow Farm, and it's by Carriage House Sampling. And this is stitched on 36 count using DMC 1/2. And the last time you saw it, this is not a Stitch Mania. This was pre-Stitch Mania. The last time you saw it, I think all I had left were all the little leaves on the trees and the initials. So I finished that up. Not sure how I'm going to FFO this, if I'm going to frame it or do something else, but that's for another day. So then my last finish was another Stitch Mania piece, and it's called Pure and Pleasant by Betty D. How do you say her name? Betty, well, Prim Betty's. And this one is stitched on Ozenberg. And I think I used two strands. And I cannot remember where I was when I last showed this one to you. but I'm anxious to get this one FFO'd. I do have the little bird made up that's in the pattern, but she's flown off somewhere and I'm gonna have to hunt her down. So we have that one, and that was with the DMC threads as well. Okay, the next thing I have to show you are some FFOs. Let's see, which one do I want to go with first? I have the Flag Maker by Not Forgotten Farm, and I've already forgotten what the fabric count is on this, but it's a linen, and I didn't write it down. I can't believe I didn't write it down. I'll have to go back and look at my other video. But it is using the Call for DMC threads. It was a free chart from Lori at Not Forgotten Farm, and I just found a frame, painted it up, and stuck it in there. So we have that one. Then the next one that I FFO'd was Americana Abe. If you recall, this was one of my Mania starts, and this is by Joyce Reed, and it comes out of the premiere issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. So again, this is the model, and this is my FFO. I am totally in love with Abe. And he is stitched on 28 count, 2/2 using DMC. Okay, my next FFO is another free one that I started for Mania, and it's from Shepherd's Bush, and it's called Hearts for America. And I just finished it into this little pin keep bowl filler. The original chart had like a flag button, I think it was, that you could purchase at the time and put on here, but I didn't have that. I did have the little hand with the heart in it, and since it was called Hearts for America, I decided to put that on, and I just backed it with some quilting fabric that I had, and it's filled with the walnut shells. And this one is stitched on 28 count Dove even weave. My next FFO is also another one from Stitch Mania, and it's called America from Glory B, and it was another free one. And again, another finished for my bowl filler, and this is also the 28 count Dove, and I stitched that 2/2 with, I can't remember, Gentle Arts or Weeks. And I just again used some fabric that I had in my stash. It's actually the same design, different colorway as that one, and that goes in my little bowl. Then I have some FFOs that I stitched a long time ago and decided to finally get them out and make them as FFOs. I have a shamefully large pile of finishes that I've never done anything with, and I decided now is the time. So sorry for the reach. My first one, this one is called, another free one, it's called July 4th, and it is from Paulette Stewart's daughter, and I apologize, I cannot remember her name, but it's on the Plum Street Samplers blogspot still, and it's called July 4th, and it's just this little flag. the pattern has the words July 4th on the bottom of this, but I decided just to make it into a little flag. Again, I filled this one with the crushed walnut shells, and the backing fabric, just some stars. The next one that I finished a long while ago is by Lizzie Kate, and it's called Land That I Love, and it looks something like this. And I dug it out of my shame pile and framed it. And I think this is called, let me see, I used whatever it was called, the Weeks Dye Works. And the sheep are done with the whisper thread, so they're kind of fuzzy. But I thought this was, I remember this, I stitched this, gosh, back in early 2000 something. See if it has a date on it when it was published. I don't see one, but based on where I purchased it, it was probably maybe 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. That's a cute one. I really like that one. The next one that I want to show you is one that has been finished for a long time, but it's, I don't know if you've watched me before. I think maybe I've mentioned that for every season I like to have a pin keep by my stitchy spot, and I switch them out with the seasons, and I thought I would show you what I have there at this time of the year. This is from the pin, called the Pin Keep, and I used to belong to a club called the Prim Sisters Club, and this was one of the kits from there, and it came out in 2012. And it looks like this. And it came with a 30 count weeks cocoa linen, and the fibers are DMC, and it looks like this. I'll hold it up like this. And again, it's filled with the crushed walnut shells, and I finished this in 2014. And those are my counting pins, some of my counting pins from Just Another Button Company. And it came with the backing fabric as well. But I love having, like I said, I love having a pin keep by my stitching spot, and that way I can keep my counting pins in here. If I want to thread multiple needles before I start stitching, I stick those in here. And it's just a handy thing to have, and it's cute. And I think that that wraps up all my progress for this month. I will show you one more thing, because I'm going to try to put a clip in here of my Americana display. And I have one additional design that I stitched years ago. I think I stitched this when I lived in the Middle East, which would have been 98, 99, 2000. And it's by Ben Creek, and it was a lot of fun to stitch. There's something hanging out here. Okay. And it's called The Flag. And it's a sampler. And I do not recall what count fabric I stitched it on. it calls for, what's it call for? It doesn't even have a recommendation. It just gives, it was DMC floss, and it was stitched with 2 strands over 2 threads. But it, like I said, it doesn't even give a called for fabric. But I stitched, oh wait, maybe it does. Oh, 28 count linen, which is probably what I stitched it on. But right now I will hopefully insert a clip of that area so you can see that, and I'll be back. Okay, hopefully I was successful with putting that clip in. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to bump you. Now the only thing I have to talk about is maybe some plans that I have for the rest of the year. Halfway through the year, I feel like I am on track with where I had hoped to be, and I hope to continue this next month. I have the month off, so hopefully I'll get a lot of good stitching time in on some of my larger projects and work a few smaller projects in there from Stitch Mania. I kind of did like a quick count of all my WIPs, and I've been avoiding that just because it really doesn't bother me that much. I know I will eventually get to them, but there's a little part of me that thinks, oh my goodness, I have all these started and I really want to finish them, and there's not enough hours in the day. I'm sure we all have similar feelings at some point. And you know, I had 33 starts for Stitch Mania, and I think that I have finished about half of those. So with the remaining Stitch Mania starts and the WIPs that I have had going on for a while, I think that I have somewhere between, and I'm just going to estimate this because I have a feeling that there's some hiding out from me that I didn't catch. So I think I have somewhere between 35 and 40 WIPs, with maybe about 5 of those being non-active. So my plans are to, like I say, continue working on my larger projects like My Heaven and Earth, my And a Force Screw. Save the Bees is kind of a medium one, and I would really like to focus on that and get that finished. And also kind of throw in there some small Stitch Mania pieces. We'll see how that goes because I have a lot of other plans for this month off. Just life gets in the way, and we'll see. But for this month, my video plans are to show some of my dyeing techniques. I've had a few comments and questions about that and requests to do a video on that. And so I hope to figure out a good setup to be able to film that and show you all exactly what I do, and that way you can give it a go. And also with the, I'm sorry again for the reach, with the dyeing the fabric, I wanted to show you all, I've had a couple comments also on some of the embellishments, I guess you would call it, some of the fibers that I use. There's such an easy way to customize ribbon to anything that you stitch. And what I use is called seam binding. It's called Hug Snug. I purchased this on eBay from a seller called Zipper Stop. They also have a website called zipperstop.com. I don't know if you'll be able to read that. I just purchased the white, and it's 100 yards comes on this, and I can't remember how much it was. It was a very reasonable price. It was so reasonable I bought two, and I will be showing you how to dye this as well, and it's a lot easier than you think. So and this can be used both in your stitch pieces. It can be used in scrapbooking, mixed media, that kind of thing. So I'll show you that. The other video that I hope to get filmed this month, I've had some requests to show how I make the stitching bags, and I will, and I can, they are also very easy, even if you're a beginning sewer, and I did find the pattern online, and I forgot to bring the name of it with me here today, but when I show you how I made it, I will give credit for that, where I found that. But I realize, you know, even though the directions that this lady gave were excellent, but I do understand that some people can learn better if they see it rather than just read the directions. So I will hopefully get that video made. And I think that's pretty much my stitching plans, sewing plans, dyeing plans for the month. And fingers crossed that it all happens. But I want to thank you all for subscribing, for liking and commenting. It warms my heart that so many of you enjoy my videos. And I also want to thank all of you who make videos, because you have kept me sane in some pretty crazy times of my life. It's nice to sit down and unwind and watch your videos and do a little bit of stitching and visiting with you. So thank you to everyone who makes videos, and anyone who watches me. I know I have a lot of viewers who are stitchers, but they have not made videos. Please consider it. It's not as difficult as you think, and if you don't want to be on camera, that's okay too. A lot of people out there just show their work without ever being on camera. So I would encourage you to at least try it. And after you've done a couple, it does get easier. Although this time I think, flying by the seat of my pants, I'm not so sure if I'm a good one to say that. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic month, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.